So, welcome everyone. After a short break on Fanspire, we are back with our first episode on cricket and IPL in specific. I mean, obviously, how could we miss doing an episode on one of the biggest tournaments in the world of cricket? So, obviously, as you all know, the league stages have concluded last night, and there were some many important games which were played. Mumbai Indians getting knocked out, and sort of, I think, as a Mumbai Indians fan, for everyone, it was a disappointing season, and sort of, we are glad that it's over right now. But let's just quickly get on our two panelists who are actually very happy to be on because obviously their teams have qualified for the playoffs. So let's just quickly get them on. We have Samar and Ahaan. So welcome both of you all.
Yeah, hi.
Thank you. Thank
Thanks.
you.
So let me just introduce some. Obviously, I don't think so. Summer needs any introduction. He's been on a show so many times. Ardent Liverpool fan,
Yeah.
and right now, obviously, a Mumbai Indians fan who has switched his loyalty to RCB. I mean, you indicated that first. Then
Yeah.
we have Ahan on the other side, who obviously, as you can see, with the beautiful jersey, is wearing a Delhi fan. I think one of the best times to be a Delhi fan, Delhi Capitals fan. I mean, considering their previous forms. And obviously, he has done many shows with the Bharat Army. And obviously, everyone knows what the Bharat Army is in India. So, welcome both of you. And Ahan, so glad to have you on our show for the first time.
Thank you. Thank you. Great to be here. Looking forward to discussion about RCB and Mumbai for sure.
Yeah. So, Summer, let's quickly get on to obviously first
Yeah.
preference was always going to be Mumbai Indians for you.
Yeah.
And
That's
being the five-time champions, and after the disappointing first phase, which always happens with Mumbai, you expected them to kick off in the second phase, which didn't happen. So how disappointed are you actually?
actually, if you see the performance in the first half when it was played in India, this time Mumbai has done better in the first half. The first 7, 8 games, I think they were lying fourth, close to third, and they needed to win about, in a best case scenario, about 4 games. But the way they performed in UAE, they in getting to grips with the conditions, especially with so many of the players selected for the national team, was disappointing. In a couple of matches, including the first game back against CSK, they had CSK on the back foot. They had them
Yeah.
almost 40 or 30 or 40 for four the first 7, 8, 10 overs, and they let loose. Then they also had the next game against RCB also, which they are KKR, which they should have closed out. And most disappointing was, I think, about 7, 8, 10 days back, the afternoon game against Delhi Capitals. Okay, 136. I mean, they should have analyzed better the pitch which was at Sharjah. Sharjah wicket, much different from the last time. This time it's slow and sluggish, and
Hmm.
totals between 150 and 175 have proved to be, you know, um, have proved to be decisive. So
Yeah.
they should have planned better. Anyway, it's pretty disappointing because end of the day, as the situation seems, some of the matches were not even close. Because if they were close, we could have
Hmm.
gone through at least on run rate. Because we are on equal on points with KKR.
Yeah.
So
The net run rate really hampered, and the situation what should have happened last night. Obviously, it was like it's something close to impossible, like a 170 margin they needed. Luckily,
yeah,
we won the toss. Luckily, Mumbai
yeah.
won the toss. They batted. Otherwise, the match would have been over before it started.
Yeah, see now, if you see the batting which they put on yesterday, why was that not seen in the earlier games in the
Yeah,
Middle East?
yeah.
I mean, they needed a situation. They always perform well with their backs to the wall, but this time I think somewhere down the line, the established players got found out. Strategies against established players like Hardik Pandya, Krunal Pandya, Kyron Pollard. teams made better strategies and they were found out. Because and Ishan Kishan and Quinton de Kock, on and off. Surya Kumar also on and off. So there was no consistent sort of performer for Mumbai with the bat, and that hampered us. We should have
Yeah.
qualified
Back.
definitely, and we should have qualified easily. So it's pretty disappointing. But I think now they need to look at the auction next year, who they want to retain, and what's their way forward.
Yeah, backstage, I was discussing with Ahan the same thing when we were watching the match. Like Ahan, especially, he thought that Mumbai could actually do it. So, Ahan, are you actually glad that Mumbai is not there in the playoffs this time?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, everyone knows Mumbai has got like champion mentality or whatever, and they won it so many times. So even if they scraped into fourth, it would have been a disaster for everyone else because once you get into the playoffs, it's every man for himself. It's like you in one game, you
Yeah,
can eliminate someone. So I think the fact that they're not there altogether is a big thing for all the teams that are there, especially Delhi and RCB because they've never won before. And if you had asked me as a Delhi fan, would I rather a league with Mumbai in it or not in it, like to playoffs, I would definitely say I don't want Mumbai in it because I mean, Mumbai for whatever like it's worth, even though we've beaten them twice this year, I think they have the team they have. If they decide to show up one day, it's still very tough to beat them.
yeah. And what about Rishabh Pant's captaincy? Like, obviously, first time he's captaining in IPL. Do you think it was a really good choice, considering I think comfortably you all reached, you top the table. So, are you happy with his captaincy overall?
Um, I don't know. See, that's a tough question. I don't think he's done anything wrong in terms of his captaincy. I think there have been some matches he made some very good calls. Like even yesterday, I think the choice to give Ripple Patel the ball in that 17th over was good because he knows there's not really much on the line right now for that game.
Yeah,
So if he just wanted to see how he bowls in that situation. So I think that's a good call. But I do think a lot of Capitals captaincy, whether it was Iyer or Pant in charge, is done off the field. I think Ricky Ponting is the one who makes most of the decisions, and they plan it in such a way. And then I think Pant makes a few calls on the field. But honestly, this might be a controversial opinion. The minute Iyer was back, I would have given him his captaincy back because it was his captaincy from
yeah,
before. And I think he didn't do anything wrong to lose it. He had one injury, so to take it away from him for honestly no reason, I think it's going to end up pissing him off. And it might reach a situation where next year we're going to end up losing one of the two of them, which is a really bad case scenario. Because as a Delhi fan, I'd want the team to be built around the two of them. And if we have to lose one of them because of an ego issue around captaincy, I think that could be disaster.
yeah. And obviously, next season is going to be the whole complete auction again. So, you can actually see maybe one of them leaving, like you mentioned, and let's see how it pans out. But obviously, you mentioned Shreyas Iyer. Like he's been too good. He's been great for the Indian team as well. He was because of injury. He was he was mentioning the backup for the World Cup. But now after seeing Ishan Kishan's performances, Surya Kumar Yadav's performances, do you think that Shreyas Iyer has to be there right now?
Okay, you're asking the wrong person this because I'm a massive Shreyas Iyer fan. When they announced the squad, I said he should be in it, and he's been screwed over by not being put in the squad because of one injury. He came back, he showed that he's in form. And yes, I know
Yeah,
Ishan Kishan performed and he batted like he had two good innings at the end, but let's not forget. Okay. This is my okay. First, for me, Ishan Kishan was not picked as an opening batsman. He was picked to bat in the middle order. If he was picked as a top three batsman, then fine, he stays in the team because he's shown he can bat at that position. But if he was picked to bat in the middle order, then the last two innings for me have no relevance because he's not going to bat in that position. And we've seen on these pitches, it's so much easier to bat in the first 8 overs when the ball is coming on compared to when after like 8 to 12, 8 to 16, when the ball slows down and you have to generate your own pace. And when he was batting in the middle
yeah.
order, he wasn't really performing even half of this good. So I think if he's picked as a top three, he stays. If he's not, I would not keep him in the squad. I would drop him for Shreyas Iyer. But I still
But
keep
I think being in the top three is going to be very tough. I mean,
That's
you
what I think.
already
I
see.
don't think
I don't think
there's
so. He's going to make it in the
availability.
top three.
I don't think there's availability in the Indian top three for them to.
Yeah,
But I do think, based off the last two performances, it is tough to like justify dropping him. But I think in terms of game awareness and situational play, I think Shreyas Iyer has some of the best situation play in the young generation in India. I think if you saw that Mumbai game in particular, since we were talking about that, most people in the young generation, including Rishabh Pant, you saw how he played it. He tried to go slam bam and try to win the game like that.
yeah.
Since Iyer kept his head on his shoulders, he just knocked. He realized it was one run the ball. He knocked the ball around. At the end, he got 2-3 boundaries and won the game very calmly. That was a very very mature innings, and I think
True.
if the pitches are going to be like this, I think you need that kind of maturity in your middle order because if you look at the team you're going to be playing, most likely after we go past KL, Rohit, and Kohli, it's going to be people like Sky, Pandya, Jadeja, Pant, who all love to come and slam it around. So to have someone with that kind of
Like
brain
we
and game
got, you were
awareness
speaking
is
of
good.
Pandya, and like obviously we have a question from Chinmay with Pandya not being able to bowl. Like obviously he's known for being an all-rounder. Is Venkatesh Iyer the batsman who can also bowl for India in the World Cup?
So I
So,
thought
and do you think what?
I've thought about this. I've had a few debates with people about this. I don't. I mean, I know Venkatesh Iyer is the new toy that everyone loves to play with, and he's just come onto the scene and he's done, had a few good performances. But let's not forget, you don't become an Indian superstar overnight. Like 5 matches, he's played maybe 6 matches, 7 matches now this half, and yes, he's had like 3-4 good performances. But is 7 matches on the IPL good enough to justify you going straight into the Indian team in the high pressure tournament? No, I don't think so. Also, he's an opener. We just said there's no space in the top three. So where is he going to bat? Because he doesn't bat at 6 and 7. That's the one thing going in Pandya's favor, that even though he's not bowling, he in T20s you need 6 hitters, and he's one of the few 6 hitters we have who can bat at 6 or 7, like and lower down the order to finish games. So I do agree that Pandya not playing is a big issue. Like not bowling is a big issue. Would I play him if he's not bowling? 50-50. But I would not replace him with Venkatesh Iyer. I'd look at maybe Shardul
But
and
what if Ishan Kishan comes over there? Because now considering he cannot bowl, and Pandya and Ishan Kishan the both. You mentioned six hitters, and I think
I
Ishan Kishan
I
has
think
proved that he is one of those.
I think if Pandya is not bowling, that doesn't he cannot play. We need to play 6 bowlers. You cannot go in with 5 bowlers and Jadeja being one of the five, because Jadeja on most days cannot
I
bowl
guess he's the
4.
only all-rounder we have currently.
That's why I have a feeling. So I think today the selectors are meeting to make some like decisions. I have a feeling if Pandya is definitely not bowling and they've decided that, then I think they're gonna get Shardul Thakur into the 15, because he's in good form and he's
Yeah.
bowling beautifully. Like even yesterday, the day before, he's the only one single-handedly who was trying to keep Chennai in the game. So I think
Hmm.
he will definitely come in. For who, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be a spinner. Maybe they'll drop Ashwin or Akshar or something. I also think Rahul Chahar is under pressure for his spot, but that's for another conversation.
Sama, do you agree with Tahan on that point?
See, now I'll give you some briefing. Yesterday Pakistan has made 3 changes to their World Cup squad, and those 3 changes, after they have announced their squad, those through so
I think he's having some network issues.
I think
So
what you're
let's
saying is that
continue.
basically you're allowed to make changes till 10th October. So if Pakistan has made it, I mean,
Yeah.
people can make it.
True. So like now let's move to IPL again. And obviously y'all played against RCB last night itself, which didn't turn out to be a good game. But do you think that momentum is really important to carry forward in the match?
I think momentum in T20 cricket is overrated. I think if momentum was a thing, people would not win one game massively and then go ahead and lose the next game. They would like I don't I think momentum is just it's an easy word to say to like justify stuff. But I
Yeah.
think honestly, as a Delhi fan, I saw parts of the game yesterday because I was busy with like other stuff, but it was horrendous. That performance was terrible. Like they looked like they were sitting on the beach. After the season is over, they're sitting on the beach doing nothing. That it looked like the heads were there. They were dropping catches for no reason. Like Aksar Patel in that last over, he has never fielded that bad in his life. It was so casual. Avesh Khan is also like laughing like he's won the game like 3 balls before. I mean, I genuinely think in their heads they were not 100% on, which is understandable. It's a long tournament, so if once you've they solidified first place, literally had nothing to play for yesterday. I mean, I think
Yeah,
I wouldn't hold it against them. So I think actually yesterday's loss, if Delhi had played like they did yesterday and won, I would have actually been more worried than losing, because then that would have been like justified in that in the head they would have been like, oh, we can go and like 50 half hours and still win it. But now,
yeah,
because they've lost it and they played it so sloppily, Ricky Ponting, is going to be on them. Like he's going to absolutely destroy them. Yes, after yesterday's performance, and be like, what is going on? Like you cannot feel like that. You cannot. And I think that is the
yeah,
best thing that could happen to Delhi, because now when they come into the playoffs, they're going to be switched on. So you know how sometimes you need a loss to like get stuff going, and you don't get overconfident. I think that's what will happen to Delhi after yesterday's.
Summer,
Yeah,
your
sorry
thoughts
for
on last night's match?
interrupting.
Yeah,
Sorry
your
for
thoughts on last match, RCB's match.
RCB's match. Very frankly, I didn't follow much of it. I was following Mumbai's game. So, but RCB have two of their Indian players who are doing exceedingly well. Harshal Patel and Shrikar Bharat. So, whenever Indian players contribute, and Yuzvendra Chahal, he's still wanting to prove a point with the World Cup snub. Probably Ashwin getting a nod in front of Chahal. So, he is also bowling pretty well on these surfaces. So,
Yeah,
overall, I didn't see yesterday's game, but I feel RCB is well positioned this year. I know they are playing the eliminator. Anything can happen in the eliminator, but I see them, the victory yesterday, a very close win, is going to put them in good mind space going into the playoffs.
yeah. Like we spoke about the eliminator. Obviously, we know that you don't get a second chance if you finish third or fourth. You lose the match, you're out of the whole tournament. And like
Yeah.
CSK has finished second, RCB third. Both of them have the same number of points. The only difference is that RCB have a negative net run rate. Do you think that could actually be the turning point, considering that you don't have a second chance and you cannot put a foot wrong in the playoffs right now? Like they have missed a trick somewhere. Do
Yeah,
you feel that?
see now, in a 20 over game, anything can happen. Match can turn within 3 overs, or it can turn within 4 overs also. So,
Yeah,
yeah, I know. Ending up third is a bit disappointing for RCB. But against KKR, it should be a good battle. KKR has two good spinners for the surface, Varun Chakravarti and Sunil Narayan. And RCB
yeah,
also has Yuzvendra Chahal, Harshal Patel doing very well. And see, Virat Kohli, AB de Villiers, these are experienced players. They know how to play on this surface. So, depending on what sort of surface they face, you know, I do feel RCB has a chance against KKR. I know it's a bit disappointing, but whatever is gone, I don't think they can, look back at it and try to rectify it. Now they only need to look further. And yesterday's victory was
yeah,
great, because now they know they can win from any situation. And a guy like Bharat doing well is, it gives lot of options to Virat regards, and in Padikal is, one of the real bright hopes. So Padikal, Virat, AB, Bharat,
yeah.
you know, um, they are looking good. Yuzvendra Chahal, Harshal Patel, they're looking good.
So we have a question, like I want both of you all to answer as neutrals. So the question is, should KKR drop Narayan and bring in Russell, who's fit currently? Summer, you can go first.
Yeah, see, it would all depend on the wicket they are playing on. We should not forget that both of them are match winners in their own right,
Yeah,
and it would be a decision which is taken on the match day by the team management. If at all Russell needs to come in, I mean they could. I don't know whether they have another wicket keeper. but I mean, they could be, probably he could come in place of their captain, Ian Morgan. I know, it's a bit
Yeah.
controversial, but he could come in place if you see like for like replacement, foreigner for foreigner, and I mean he gives more to the team than Ian Morgan.
Hmm.
I mean he can bowl. Morgan can't bowl. So I mean
Uh,
that is the C for Russell.
yeah. And do you agree with Samar, or you have differential views on that?
I wouldn't drop Morgan. I think everyone is going after Morgan. Yes, he's not had a great IPL in terms of batting, but the same people who are going after Morgan are saying, "Oh, Dhoni is so good. Oh, his captaincy is so good. He should play as only a captain. His batting has been terrible, but his wicket keeping has been okay, but his batting has been like terrible. Dhoni's batting in this IPL, and I think if you can
Yeah.
justify Dhoni playing um, as a captain, then I think Morgan for me has been similar. I understand he's overseas, but I think eventually, I think with these kind of players, I think they stand up in the pressure moments. Like I will not be surprised in the slightest if KKR are 40 for 4 in the eliminator, and then Morgan hits like a 50 or a 60, because he's that kind of player. And I think,
Yeah.
if I mean, I think they should get Russell in. And if I was getting Russell in, I'd drop Shakib. I mean, not drop, but like take him out, because Shakib was brought in for Russell, and now that Russell's is fit or whatever, he should come back in for Shakib. But having
Hmm.
said that, I think, definitely, I think if I was RCB, I would be more worried facing KKR than facing Mumbai right now at Sharjah, because Sharjah clearly didn't suit Mumbai. But if you look at the bowling attack that KKR have for Sharjah, it's insane, because they have two mystery spinners. They have one like 150 plus quick. Then they have Mavi, and they have the fifth bowler. There's, I think, one more bowl. I can't. It's slipping my mind right now. But basically, they have five quality. Shakib or Russell, whoever plays. So they have five quality bowlers who are giving them like who, and it's so varied. Like they have really fast. They have fast bowling. They have orthodox spin. They have mystery spin. They have Venkatesh Iyer who can bowl like 135. So they've got all their bases covered, and it's anyway tough wicket to bat on. So I think to play against that attack is going to be very, very tough for RCB. But let's see. I hope they can
My
make it.
feeling is, if I could interrupt, my feeling is, RCB, KKR is going to try to blast out RCB with spin. They'll go in with Varun Chakravarti, they'll go in with Shakib, and they'll go in with Sunil Narayan. Their only quick bowler will be Ferguson, Lockie Ferguson. So this is what I feel is, and they might pitch in Venkatesh Iyer and someone else, because that's going to be their game plan. And RCB should be ready for it. I mean, if RCB plays sensibly and reach anything between 150 to 170, I mean, sometimes in setting your targets too high, you reach really low. You could get all out for 100 also. So they need to take it deep into the, after the second break around 13th, 14th over, and then they should accelerate, keeping wickets in hand. Because someone like EBD and Virat, if they are there, anchoring the ship, I think RCB 150, 160, 170 is a good total on the Sharjah wicket.
Yeah. That's true. But before we move on to the next segment, obviously, let's just quickly look at the playoffs, how the playoffs have shaped up after all the league stages. So we can just see who's facing who and what the scenario is for every team. So if we can have that on the screen. Yeah. So obviously, Delhi finished first, CSK second, so they face each other in the first qualifiers. Whereas, like I mentioned, RCB and KKR face each other in the eliminators. Whoever loses the eliminators is out. The winner will have to face the team which has lost the qualifiers. So that's one additional benefit what you get for finishing in the top two. And then obviously the winners will play the finals. And I think it's the most important thing because considering Delhi and RCB have never won the title, so do you think realistically, Ahan, this is the best chance because the way the team is performing right now, Delhi has been superb overall as well. So do you think this is the year?
I mean, I'm not jinxing anything, but I think if you give it on pure performance, I think Delhi has performed the best. But at the end of the day, it's about the mentality and mindset when it comes to the um, playoffs. I think for Delhi, I think the first qualifier against Chennai is massive. I think if they can win that, because they've 2-0 up against, I think they're 4-0 up against Chennai in the last 2 years. And there's this whole voodoo around Chennai that, oh, Chennai have Dhoni, so when it comes to the big games, they'll psych everyone out. They'll win it because of their
CSK have
mentality.
lost the last three consecutive matches. So,
I know that. I know
right
exactly,
now,
exactly. So
right now things are not good.
they have Chennai when they're weak. I mean, not weak, but relatively like they're in a worse space than maybe they were 10 days ago, and they've just beaten them like 2 matches ago, and
Yeah.
there's like I think it's a big thing if Pant also as a captain and for Delhi, if you can get over Dhoni in a playoff, like if you can beat him and go straight to the final, and I think that
I
going to
think
this,
then Pant will be maintained. He'll be
I think
retained in the option.
I think going to the final immediately is a big thing because I think it'll give their pace guys a chance to rest. It'll give Marcus Stoinis more chance to get fit if he's coming back. So I think
Yeah.
it's a big game for Delhi. I think they need to win that first game and try and book their place straight to the final because more often than not in the last few years, if you see the team that wins that first qualifier ends up because they have more rest, they end up winning the final. So
Yeah.
uh, and I mean it's just
I
a safer
see.
option. So I think it's a huge game.
And I feel, Delhi is going to do good, with no disrespect to MSD, I think he's the weakest link currently in the CSK team. The old guard, Dhoni is the weakest.
I don't think that's even up for debate. I mean, he 100%
I mean,
is.
I think it's surprising that we are talking about Dhoni in such a way that he's being the weakest link. I mean,
No, he is.
obviously, there are
Absolutely.
sentiments carrying currently. I mean,
No,
I
no, it's not
tend
about
to agree
sentiment.
with both of y'all. It's the only
He's like,
sentiments which are going on.
I mean, look at Dhoni. I mean, I think he's stretching his career for some brand image or branding. I don't know what is he doing because he's not playing for India. He has no hopes or plans to play for India. He's given up everything and he's blocking a youngster's place. I mean,
And
very harsh.
it's kind of sad also because like he did
Kind
so
of
much
sad.
for Indian cricket. His legacy for Indian cricket was so good, and he's kind of just tarnishing it. And it's the irony is that when he became captain, he removed so many
Yeah, he removed
seniors.
Ganguly,
Yeah,
Dravid because
he
they are
removed so
so-called
many
seniors.
seniors because apparently they were slow and they didn't fit. And now
Yeah.
he's doing almost the exact same thing. Like honestly, when I'm not gonna lie, like this might sound bad, but when I was watching the Delhi Chennai game, when Dhoni was in, I was like, thank God. Like I knew when it came to like Nokia and Avesh, with the pace they have today and the pace they can generate, he just cannot play that pace anymore. Like the 145 at his head, he's struggling for sure. And I think
Yeah,
as an
absolutely.
opposition fan, when you're seeing Dhoni bat and you're seeing that there's Jadeja sitting behind him, you're just like, can he stay in? Because like Jadeja is right now, according to me, the best finisher in that team by a country mile. So for
Yeah, yeah.
them, if Dhoni wants to play as a captain, I understand the whole argument. Oh, he brings so much captaincy, he's a good keeper and all that. Then honestly, put your ego aside, bat at 9, like after Shardul Thakur and after Dwayne Bravo. Bat at 9, you play if you and in very select scenarios, if your team needs you to come out and like save the game, like if they are 50 for 2 after the power play or something, don't come out. Like let someone else come out. Let the batsmen who are in form, who are like this is Jadeja's prime. You're blocking him from
See, what happens is,
yeah. I mean, I know there's like
yeah, see,
other.
what happens, once you retire, that sort of conditioning and training at that very high level is missing. So that sort of pace, this is not the pace which you play in domestic cricket. This is
He doesn't even
absolute
play domestic
international.
cricket.
Yeah, yeah, and anyway, he doesn't even play domestic cricket, so that conditioning is lacking. And once you play after such a long layoff, hand and body movement, so basically for him, his mind is willing, but his body is not willing. His body is not there, although his mind is there. So he's getting found out badly. Anyway, if you eliminate Ruturaj Gaikwad and Shardul Thakur and Jadeja, if you eliminate their contributions in the game, I think Delhi has a good chance.
I honestly think I said this like at least like 2 weeks ago to someone that if you get Chennai two down in the power play, you won the game. Like in either innings. Because if you can take out one of their openers and one of Moeen Ali, or I mean either both openers or Moeen Ali, like two of them in the power
Yeah.
play, they struggle. Because I mean Raidu is good, but Raidu today even Raidu takes time. Like he needs time to build an innings. He's so I mean
Raidu,
that
Raina, these are all Dhoni's army.
no, but like Raina, like, see, I actually respect them for benching Raina. He looks so out of place. If Raina had played Noki and Rabada, I would shudder to think what would happen to him. Like
He
he's
was
anyway
sitting duck.
struggling. He's struggling against the short ball. Can you imagine it coming at his face at 150? Like I would be worried for
No,
the safety.
he struggled against the short ball when he was 21 years. So,
Exactly. I just feel like that's why I think to beat Chennai, the key is you have to hit them in the power play because Gaikwad and I think Duplessis have scored some insane like 40% of their 45% of their runs or something.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I think if you can get one of them and Ali out early or both of them out early, then you're well on your way. Especially they're setting a target because the rest then they come in like damage protection mode. They try to build an innings. They try to and they honestly they're very good players. They were very good players in their prime, but they don't have the skills that they used to have today.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think if you can get them in early, you can restrict the run scoring and even get them out. It's only when you reach
Yeah.
people like Jadeja and even Bravo a little bit, but like these are the guys who will really hurt you. So either you get them in really early or you let them come in so late that they can't have an impact
Yeah, they
on
can
the
have an impact.
game. So I mean, I think to beat Chennai, it's a very simple blueprint. You bowl, get them 2-3 down early, and that's the game.
So Ahan, you actually fancy your chances against Chennai, I predict.
If you had asked me which of the four teams in the playoffs I wanted to play as number two, I would have chosen Chennai probably.
So if I had to take a prediction right now, so you would definitely say that Delhi is going to progress.
No, I wouldn't say that because I don't want to jinx it. But I think on pure cricketing logic, you would think that because I mean the gulf between the two sides in terms of what are Chennai's weaknesses, what are Delhi's strengths, and what are Delhi's like what are the form the teams are coming in. I think you have to back Delhi. Like it would be it would be stupid not to on purely cricketing logic. Now if Dhoni pulls out some miracle with his captaincy and all that, then all that I can't account for. I'm not that like experienced and smart to think about all that. So on purely cricketing logic, I would say Delhi should win this.
Yeah. So on to you, Samana. RCB versus KKR. Like you said, you do fancy your chances against KKR. So, like, if I had to get your prediction, it would be an RCB win, right?
Yes, yes. RCB doing well. I mean, see, Virat is an experienced campaigner. He knows how to play on these wickets. So I think he's seen, the way to approach batting in Sharjah. And I see them tactically negating, RCB, the KKR spinners, sorry. And RCB going ahead, yeah. Harshal Patel, prime form, Yuzvendra Chahal doing well. So I see RCB
Yeah.
doing well, winning against KKR.
And obviously, there is a chance that, we can see Delhi and RCB both in the final. If Delhi
Absolutely.
win, RCB continue winning. Do you actually see that situation happening more than anything else?
Yes, yes, I see that situation happening because see, CSK has been a team with everyone pitching in on that particular day, and it's their performances have been um, okay. I mean, I would not put it great. So I mean, they had a head start in the first leg. It helped them. In the
Yeah.
first leg or the first part, that ad with Dhoni comes in, dusri inning, Jhaki and something, I'm forgetting that ad. Anyway, so Chennai, I think, is struggling. So I feel RCB and Delhi Capitals is going to be the final.
Okay. And obviously, I'm not going to ask for your final predictions now. I mean, I think so it will be harsh on all the teams to ask something so early on. But obviously, I just want to thank both of you all for coming on and, making this a really good first episode on IPL, which we tried to get on. And, I wish both your teams the best of luck. And obviously, I guess only one of you all can win this maiden trophy. I just hope it is the best team which wins it. And for everyone who has tuned in, thank you for your questions. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. And obviously, again, big thanks to Ahan and Samar for coming on and putting your inputs on so many questions as well as our thoughts on that. So, thank you guys. Have a great
Thanks.
day.
Thank you.
Bye, Ayan. All the best.
Thank you. You too.